This is Colin McGuigan for IFL TV. Delighted to be joined by Frank Smith in murky Monaco. Frank, delighted to be back.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I think 4 years since we've been here. The weather is not what we're used to, but hopefully tomorrow the sun will be shining.
You're rolling back the years a bit here with that little do you've got up top.
The Barnet. Yeah. It's getting a bit long. I was starting to. It wasn't looking too good, but I don't think it looks too good now. I was thinking I might just zap it all off. Do you remember when I used to have that old? Oh. Yeah. Do you not like it?
The early days.
Yeah, but I was fatter then. Not skinny now, but what the shall I? Yeah. I'll go and do it today.
You should do it today. I think it'll be
last time we were in Monaco. That's the haircut I had. So maybe there's like reminiscing. I should go back to that. Yeah.
Back here, Frank. Obviously, big show on Saturday night. Is this the start of Matchroom coming back to Monaco? Will we see this over the next couple of years?
Yeah, look, we only had we ran back to back 3 years in a row. We had 3 years off, I think, because of COVID. So it was 2020, 21, 22. So, and that was just, it was out of everyone's control. But we're back. The aim is to keep going year on year. Like I say, we had 3 shows in a row before that, and it's a great place to do events. We're very lucky to be able to put shows on here. So, yeah, looking forward to Saturday night and then the years ahead.
A bit about this show. Obviously, Joe Cordina's in a tough fight, but the fight that sticks out to me is the Ramla Ali rematch against Julissa Guzman. What do you make of that?
I think it's a great fight. The first one was brilliant. Ramla showed a lot of heart. Julissa Guzman with a big finish, but she's getting straight back in there 5 months later. Fair play to her. Like a lot of our fighters recently have jumped straight back into tough rematches. So that's a great fight. Joe Cordina obviously defending his world title as well. I think Nonshinga's in. That's going to be an all-out tear-up. And Sully Sissoko back out and then looking for big fights in 2024 for Sully Sissoko. But, first fight obviously in Monaco, but first fight back, RMC in France as well. So big viewership for him. So it's good. It's a big show. Looking forward to it.
It's got a nice run until Christmas time. There's still the possibility of the December 23rd show happening. What do you think the chances are of a show happening on that date?
Working on it every second of the day. And I think by the end of this, well, by tomorrow, we'll probably have a clearer picture of whether that's going to happen or not. We're all set up until December 16th, and then it'll be great to get another show on the road for December 23rd. Obviously, with the Usyk Fury stuff now delayed, not happening, that frees up that date. It's definitely a date AJ wants to fight on. So let's see.
If it was to happen, where would that likely happen if AJ was to fight on December 23rd?
I think in London. I think in an arena in London, possibly. But we're just working through all that now. But like I say, we got to move quite quickly. If we're going to do it, I'd suppose we'd announce early part of next week.
You're someone that was heavily involved in the Japan deal. You got it over the line. What's the situation with Japan, and what can we see? Eddie refers to you're going to do something different. What would that possibly be?
We got a call actually tomorrow. We're working through with the local commission around the format of the event. Aim is to get up and running for an event mid-January, so January 20th is the date we're targeting for that. Got a call tomorrow to decide, exactly the show and the format of the event. But something interesting. But we're making sure we go through it all the right way and putting all the details together. So probably in the next week to 10 days we'll have an announcement on our first Japanese event.
Will there be UK fighters on those shows, or will it be mainly Asian and building a new stable out there in Japan?
No, I think international fighters will appear, including British fighters, American fighters as well. Like I say, looking at possible formats for the first shows, but definitely looking at big world title fights. We're probably going to do 3 shows within the 2024 year over there. Probably the next one after January will be May, June time, and then one in sort of November, December. So I think you'll see some international fighters on the cards as well as local talent that we want to build up.
You've said to me before you're not a massive fan of the actual fights sometimes, but you're more a fan of the event as a whole. I want to talk to you a bit about Saudi Arabia. What did you make of that event as a whole?
Spectacular. I mean, the whole thing, like even the marketing campaign, they were everywhere. Times Square, the Sphere, they were on Piccadilly Circus, they were on every bus, every taxi. Like, they know what they're doing. They pump a load of money into it. It's a tremendous job. The opening ceremony was like an Olympics opening ceremony. I mean, even that venue they built for 20-odd thousand people. And then the undercard arena. So, yeah, you can't... Same as when we've been there, though. Everything they do to the highest of levels. You can't fault it in any way. So it was a tremendous job by the team, and yeah, I'm not surprised at all though, because we've seen it time and time again.
Does that give you the itch to maybe bring Matchroom back to Saudi Arabia and work with maybe Turkey Al Sheikh, who obviously you have not worked with yet? You did work with Prince Khalid before. Is that there an avenue there? Is there conversations going on between yourselves and Turkey Al Sheikh?
Look, I'm sure there's opportunity in the long run. Of course, we'd love to. We want to be involved in huge events. We deliver huge events all around the world, week in, week out. And the production quality of it, of course, that would be great to be involved in. So I'm sure over time, they've got huge intent to invest heavily in not just boxing but other sports as well. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of opportunities. And excited.
We haven't spoke to you since that event. What did you make of the Tyson Fury performance, and how do you think that he would fare against Anthony Joshua?
Obviously below par performance from Tyson Fury. I think as well, if that fight would have, maybe the scorecards would have been close to that 90. I think one was 97, 93. I think people were so shocked by the fact that Ngannou managed to stay in there and do what he did, that maybe people would have scored it. I think you could have argued it either way, being completely honest. But people were more shocked that Ngannou did what he did to Tyson Fury, a person who'd never had a professional boxing fight before. I think Anthony Joshua knocks Tyson Fury out, but I've said that before. I think Tyson Fury's done tremendous things in boxing, but he had an off night as well in Saudi. He didn't box very well. People have nights which they don't look very good. That's the reality of high-level sport, isn't it? But I believe Anthony Joshua knocks Tyson Fury out, but I'd love to see it.
How feasible do you think it is that potentially Matchroom could do a Anthony Joshua, Francis Ngannou rumble in the jungle in Africa?
It would be huge. It would be a massive event. So definitely something that we'd love to do. And I think AJ could stop Tyson Fury as well, Francis Ngannou as well as Tyson Fury. But let's see. He wants to become world champion again, Anthony Joshua. That's been his focus for a long time. So that's what we're working towards. But as Eddie said, the Ngannou fight's massive, and I'm sure it can get made. Africa would be huge for that. But I'm sure there'd be a lot of interest in Saudi as well as other territories all around the world.
I'm going to run some quick ones off to you. Will you be making a move for Boots Ennis, who I believe he's not with PBC anymore? There's no deal with Showtime there. He looks like he's a promotional free agent, has fought on the zone before. Is he someone that you will or have been speaking to?
I think him, as amongst other names as well. There's so many great names out there, but I think it's about making great fights as well, real fights, and that might be one-off fights as well between these people if opportunities arise. We've had lots of discussions in the past with Boots Ennis and his team. We haven't come to anything previously, but I think with the change in the market, definite opportunity there. And like I say, it's about making great fights. And if that's one-off fights, it doesn't mean always signing to a promoter. It means delivering the best possible fights on various platforms. Then I'm sure that's what fighters will look at as well.
Sandy Ryan's appeal was turned down. What's next for Sandy Ryan then on that, and will you look to make that rematch?
I think Jessica McCaskill's been ordered as well for a mandatory. So she's got to challenge, I think, Habazin. So that may mean that rematch doesn't happen. So now we have to look at another fight for Sandy Ryan. I think, massive fight would be Terry Harper. All British clash, as we've spoken about a lot. They're the fights that get people interested. So, but I think she'll be back out probably February, March time. But yeah, the rematch not likely next, but it could happen in the future.
Dimitri Bivol likely to return in January in Las Vegas. Who would that likely be against?
Working through 3 or 4 opponents now. Date is almost set for January, but news soon. I'm not giving away the opponents. You should have asked Eddie; he'll tell you everything. But I'm not. I'm the closed book.
Billy Joe Saunders likely to return as well on the Ben Eubank undercard. It's been said. Who could we see him in against?
Look, he's been out for a long time. What's he been out? 2.5 years nearly. By the time it comes round, it was May 2021 he boxed Canelo, wasn't it? So I think it's going to be a realistic fight. He's not going to go in there in the toughest fight probably, but there's massive fights to be made for Billy Joe Saunders. He's a massive name in the sport. He's been in some of the biggest nights, so I think you'll see him out there, and then probably in a big fight May-June time.
You've seen Richardson Hitchens in Orlando. What's next for him?
Interesting fight could be the winner of Montana Love and Liam Parra for him. Look, we made the Montana Love fight previously. It didn't happen, but I think there's we'll see. They fight December 9th, Love and Para. But I think that the winner of that fight, that's a natural fight to be made, and it sort of sets the winner of that fight onto a possible world title challenge after that sort of second half of 2024.
Me and you have been on this subject a few times, but Edgar Berlanga in Puerto Rico, what's the situation? Is he going to fight? And is it going to happen in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, we're looking at Puerto Rico. The guys had a call with Edgar's team the other day. It's definitely something we're looking at between Puerto Rico and Florida, but it would be great to deliver an event in Puerto Rico. So, we're just working through opponents now for that early part of next year. But yeah, 100%, we'd love to deliver a massive event in Puerto Rico.
Someone that me and you have spoke about a few times is Padraig McCrory. He's moved up to the WBA. I'm not going to ask you that question, yeah. He's moved up to number 3 with the WBA. Diego Pacheco's number 8 with the WBA. He obviously fights in LA in a few weeks. Would it be likely to see that fight made early next year? Padraig McCrory, 3 spot. Pacheco, 8 spot.
Are you Padraig McCrory's agent?
No comment.
Every interview it's about Padraig McCrory.
I have to do the Irish lads a turn, and he's someone that's obviously on my mind.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly. It's a fight that we could look at. Look, Diego's got a tough fight on November 18th against an experienced fighter. So get through that, all eyes focus on that. But definitely the view would then be to return him to LA sort of early part of next year again. So he's a definite opponent, potentially.
Last couple from me. JJ Metcalf, anything on his next?
No, not currently. I think he's been ordered to fight Abbas Baru, I think, for the European title. I know they're looking at that currently. Abbas is obviously works with Wasserman and Sauerland, so I know they're looking at that fight, but no details just yet.
Felix Cash,
he obviously had a bit of time out with an injury. Spoke to him yesterday actually. He's got a new trainer, and he is going to be looking to get back out late Feb, March.
Who's he training with?
I don't know whether he's announced it, so I'm not going to announce it for you.
Last one, Johnny Fisher. When will we next see him at?
Possibly if we do this December 23rd show, possibly back out there. I think that's a perfect date for him, especially if it's in London. So yeah, there. If not, it'll be January.
Last one, Frank. Any news on you? Any luxurious purchases coming up, or anything along those lines that you've been doing while you're in Monaco?
No, I'm trying to buy a football club, but that's about it, mate. Not me, but
Frank Smith is trying to buy a football club. That's the headline tomorrow.
I haven't got enough money to buy a football club myself, so.
Can you give us an idea of what football club, or is this you and Eddie on a joint venture?
No, I only just told him about it. He was quite shocked, to be fair. I handed him my. I've learned from the best, haven't I?
He's buying a football club. He's buying a football club, aka he's got one of his mates who's got a load of money that he's telling him you should buy a football club. And when this bloke makes the transaction, Frank will be telling everyone, I bought a football club. Yeah, I bought a football club.
But don't let, what is that saying? A little truth in it, yeah, in a good story. But I've learnt from you, mate. I've learnt from you. So, people are now going to say Frank Smith's buying a football club. I'm not. I don't have the money I don't have the money for a football club, but hopefully I'll convince someone to buy a football club.
Frank Smith, catch up tomorrow. Appreciate it.
Brentwood FC in the Prem.
Sponsored by Matchroom.